Just to begin with a side note, just to be reminded that every year we read the gospel passage from John, from the wedding at Cana, because it's kind of considered part of the Feast of Epiphany, where we find out who Jesus is. And so we have the Epiphany with the Magi, the Lord of all nations, the baptism of Jesus, he's the very Son of God, part of the Holy Trinity, and with the wedding at Cana, it's like, then he is here to fulfill all the Jewish promises that water turned into wine. But that's not what I'm preaching about this morning. I'm working with the second reading. So each year we have at least 5 weeks of reading from Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, not always the same every year. But what we know about the community in the Greek city of Corinth is that it didn't take long before there were divisions beginning to kind of bubble up in the community there. One of those types of divisions, which we hear in the letter, is that some people think, well, I'm a follower of Apollos, and I'm a follower of Paul, or I'm a follower of this other leader, rather than just being one single community. Also, there was divisions that showed up when they were celebrating the Eucharist. Those who had money were having a big banquet beforehand, where those who were poor did not. So there's a division there between the privileged and the underprivileged. So in his letter, and really in all of his letters, he reminds those Christians at that time, and therefore he reminds us, that the fruit of baptism into Christ is not only a personal thing, but the fruit is a strong, united community with no divisions. Every person counts. Every person in the community has been given a gift of the Spirit, a spiritual gift, or a gift for service, or a gift to work for the community and others. And as he says today, there is a variety of gifts, but there is no gift that's superior to another. And he acknowledges, as we would today too, that there are temporary divisions and hurts that happen in a community, but we need to turn to God immediately for forgiveness and the path to reconciliation. So, in the letter to the Corinthians in particular, Paul makes it clear that the exercise of a diversity of gifts, not division, but an exercise of a diversity of gifts is the sign of an authentic Christian community. And then he says, to each individual, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for some benefit. And it's not usually for us personally, it's for others, for the community. Each individual. So all of us here this morning, every one of us has been given gifts by the Spirit. There's not a single person in here who can say, well, that's not me. We're all baptized. Yes, every single person, for the benefit of either the parish, the 5 saints, or our community at large. Now, last week we had a workshop for all the ministries of the Mass. We brought together lectors, gift bearers, the whole works except altar servers. And we can see in that all of the ministries here at Mass, we have a diversity of age, young people serving, middle age, older, the whole works. And all of those ministries that we see when we're gathered here are a sign of the gifts that all of us have for things outside of the Mass as well as the Mass. So everything we do here is significance. It is a sign of who we are in our families or workplace, school, wherever it may be. But also while we're here, it's not only those ministers that read, serve, greet, and what have you, but the assembly, those that are gathered, also have a ministry. It's the ministry of full, conscious, active participation. You're not here to watch. This is not a movie. This is not a football game on TV. You're here to engage, to participate. We do that like when the readings are happening. We really try to work hard, and that's hard for us in our modern day, is to listen actively. And then when we're having verbal responses, to respond. And when we sing, to be singing along with, and if you're not a singer, at least to have the book in your hand and to lip sync at least. It's serious. It really is. You're here not to watch, but to participate. And it's really, really important. And when we're here and we come to Mass, this is not, we're not thinking in terms of we're coming here to get something. Actually, we come to Mass on Sundays to give. to give our whole selves, to God. It's a sign again that we want to give our whole selves to God all week long. And here is where we're nourished and strengthened and guided in order to do it. So we're here to give, not to get. But, of course, the more we give of ourselves, indeed we will receive. We will receive comfort or challenge from the readings. We receive the very body and blood of Christ. What greater gift could we ever receive? We also, hopefully, we sense when we're here that we have the support of one another and one another's prayers. So if we really do worship God here and have our giving rather than trying to get, then when the deacon says at the end of Mass, sometimes, go glorify the Lord by your life, it's going to happen. This, what we do here, should affect the rest of the week. So each person here is baptized. Each of you counts. Each of you is gifted by the Spirit for some benefit, as I am myself. So we could ask the question as kind of a review, and you could think about it through the week. What gift or gifts do I have for the parish? And what gifts do I bring to my marriage or my family? What gifts do I have for the success of my classroom and school? And what gifts do I have for my workplace? What gifts do I have for the community at large? We have to ask the question. We need to acknowledge those gifts that God has given us. And if we don't use our gifts, it really is a slap in the face of God. It is. It is hoarding. It is a sin not to share the gifts that we have been given. So our gifts are for all aspects of our life, of course, but I do want to remind all of ourselves that a portion does need to be given to the church, to the parish. It's just part. We need everyone. And so it's not only a matter of giving in terms of volunteering at an event, but we also need to simply attend. We need every person's smile, their laughter, their positive attitude, and kindness. Each individual has been given the manifestation of the Spirit for some benefit. Just think of all the planning, organizing, carrying out of all these events that we have. We have adoration, of course, fair stand, the fall festival, Christmas baskets, Bible studies, liturgies, ecumenical services, the Mardi Gras party, the spring luncheon, the Five Saints mission and retreat, twin parish events and trips, and more. There's all these things that are part of our community to build community, to do Jesus' work. So we need everyone. We need your time and your talent and your presence. We need your presence. To each individual, the manifestation of the Spirit has been given for some benefit. The exercise of a diversity of gifts is a sign of an authentic Christian community.